This Guy's Garage. Like and subscribe.
Mr. Andrew Hayes, the Deputy Auditor General. Mr. Hayes, you have a brief opening remark, and we all look forward to hearing from you. Thank you. Do you have a point of order, Ms. Khalid?
No, I was wondering, Mr. Johns' hand is up online.
I see this meeting has been called and deemed as an emergency meeting. And my understanding is that not only is your committee studying the ArriveCan, but also 3 other committees, including Government Operations Committee, is studying ArriveCan. We had 2 emergency meetings last week. Today, an emergency meeting is being called at the same time that 3 political parties are having their strategic caucus sessions right now. We're calling on this committee has asked for the Auditor General to appear to discuss the report on ArriveCan, and this is ahead of the scheduled report being tabled to Parliament.
Thank you.
I wanted to put that on record.
Sure. Thank you, Mr. John. So your point of order is that you object to the meeting being called, which is not technically a point of order, but I wanted to give you time to speak. I will address your first point. In fact, this committee previously invited the Office of the Auditor General to appear on this exact subject while that investigation was underway. It was viewed as a routine meeting. That again was during a recess week. So there is certainly precedent. And in terms of interference, well, we have a witness here today from the Office of the Auditor General who is prepared to speak. So I don't quite follow the logic of this being interference. And I'll note that that previous meeting we had on October the 12th not only resulted in information being shared publicly, which was noteworthy, it also resulted in the auditor then taking steps to ensure the committee's concerns were addressed in the current report. So I've heard your a point of order, which again I listened to more to allow you to get on the record, but the meeting is going to proceed. Well, so this, we're not in debate. Point of orders. If you have a point of order, say point of order. Otherwise, I do want to hear from Mr. Hayes. No other points of order?
A point of clarification, then, Mr. Chair. This meeting could have been called earlier in the week. I find it suspicious that the Conservatives decide to move a meeting, to have a meeting on a Friday when 3 other political parties are in the middle of their strategic planning session.
Good morning, Mr. Hayes. Thank you for your attendance. The Auditor General on October the 12th, 23, on a recess week, appeared before this committee, and unfortunately her testimony was cut short when the Liberal NDP coalition brought a motion to adjourn the meeting after it was revealed that the government nor the CBSA informed her that the RCMP were investigating allegations of misconduct with the CBSA. She, in fact, only learned about it after reading a news article in the Globe and Mail. With that in mind, has the Prime Minister and his government been open and transparent by releasing all documentation as requested by your department?
We make our requests for information directly to the departments and agencies involved in our audits, and we have received the responses that we expected from those agencies and departments. We have not identified concerns regarding our access to information in this case.
I understand with respect to the CBSA, there is approximately 30,000 pages that have yet to be delivered to committees. It's in the translation process. Were you aware of that, and has that been factored into your report?
Our audit is relating specifically to ArriveCan. My understanding is that the study by other committees might be broader than just ArriveCan. In terms of I'm aware that the committees have requested information and that some of that is outstanding, but it's not for me to comment on the process for that.
Your office has a mandate that when you uncover some element of criminality, you are to refer that to the RCMP. Is that correct?
When we identify issues that could raise the potential of criminality, we do identify for the RCMP.
And did you uncover any issues with respect to criminality involving the ArriveCan?
So at this point, I think that would be a question that the Auditor General would be best positioned to answer on February 12th. I can tell you that, as you mentioned earlier, we became aware that the RCMP has been already informed of a matter by the Canada Border Services Agency. That obviously is a different scenario than the normal one for us, where we conduct an audit and decide at the end whether or not to bring the RCMP in. They're already aware of the allegations.
At the Government Operation Committee level, we have seen unprecedented levels of misinformation being shared by government officials.
Point of order, Chair.
Yes.
Why aren't we bringing in information from another committee?
It's
This
not a
is the,
point
this
of
is the
order.
Public Accounts Committee. Can we deal with the Public Accounts mandate
Ms. Shin,
relevance?
That's hardly a point of order. Mr. Brock has the floor and is welcome to reference any information. In fact, the letter that Mr. McCauley, who's a member of this committee, sent to the OAG specifically references OAG or information from that committee. So I will allow Mr. Brock to continue with his
Well,
line
my
of
Liberal
questioning.
colleagues don't want to shed any sunlight with respect to these allegations. The Conservative Party certainly does. CBSA officials appeared at government operations, deliberately misled the committee. The biggest outstanding issue is who was responsible for and who chose GC Strategies, this two-person consulting company who performed no IT work, who received $11 million of taxpayer money towards the ArriveCan total expenditure, clearly receiving the taxpayer-funded lottery in the process for doing absolutely nothing. This is a hot potato. It's kryptonite to the government. It's kryptonite to government agencies. Were you able to determine, sir, with the documentation that you received, who was responsible, what department was responsible for choosing GC Strategies?
Again, the Auditor General will be best positioned to describe the findings of our audit on February 12th. The scope of the audit is about the ArriveCan app, though.
Yeah, thank you. Has the government or the CBSA informed you that two whistleblowers who came forth at committee last week or 2 weeks ago were actually suspended without pay, that being Cameron McDonald and Mr. Antonio Utano, who both worked for the CBSA. Were you informed by the government of that?
So I am aware of that. I cannot recall whether or not I first found out from the government or whether it was in watching the committee hearings. It was around the same time, but I am aware of those that situation.
Thank you. Mr.
You
Chair.
got 30 seconds.
That's fine.
You're done?
Yeah,
Okay.
thank you.
Mr. Janice, you have just under 2 minutes.
Okay. Thank you, Chair. Sir, thank you for being here. And I am very concerned about your ability to access information from public servants in conditions where those public servants have been subject to intimidation. With that in mind, I wanted to briefly move a motion, and the motion is that the committee report to the House its grave concern about apparent reprisals against witnesses following their testimony on the ArriveCan app. This is critically important for the integrity of
Point of
the
order,
kinds
Chair.
of investigations
Is this a notice
that
of motion
can
or is
undertake.
it moving a motion?
May I respond to that,
Yes,
Chair?
you may.
I'm moving the motion. It's on the matter at hand. It's on the matter at hand, and I'm moving the motion. Yes, thank you. And I think the committee will hopefully be able to dispense with this quickly. To review the facts very quickly, Chair, we had testimony at the Government Operations Committee, explosive testimony from Mr. McDonald and Mr. Utano about what happened in the context of the ArriveScam scandal. When that testimony occurred, it was surprising and shocking what they were able to reveal in response to questions that members asked. In particular, they identified that a number of other public servants either lied directly or were not honest and forthright with the committee. And they responded frankly and directly to questions that were asked in that regard. After their November 7th testimony, later that month, they received letters saying that they were subject to investigation. And while that investigation is still ongoing, these public servants have been suspended without pay. It's an incredibly unusual step that public servants would be suspended without pay in the middle of an investigation into their conduct when no findings have even been reached, and that they would be informed of that investigation immediately after they provide frank testimony to a parliamentary committee. Now, this speaks to the ability of public servants to be able to provide honest answers to important questions that are asked without fear of intimidation. And it speaks to the right of parliamentarians to actually get the information we need to get to the bottom of the Arrive scam scandal. Of course, many parliamentarians, parliamentary committees, the public has been seized with this scandal. It's true. $54 million were spent on the Arrive Can app. It was spent through a two-person company with no IT expertise. Nobody wants to own up to giving this company this contract, a company that again does no IT work, subcontracted all the work, and got a big payout in the process. Nobody in the public service wants to own up to giving them that contract. And now when we have two public servants who come give frank testimony, they are subject to disciplinary measures immediately after that testimony, before an investigation has even taken place. And this is gravely concerning, and I believe it is designed to send a message to public servants that they should shut up and not reveal the truth to committees. And that is not a message we want sent. So I hope that this committee would consider supporting this motion to report to the House its grave concern about apparent reprisals against witnesses following their testimony on the Arrive Can app. If members are serious about getting to the truth, if members are serious about really finding out what happened here, then we need to have a situation where the Auditor General gets all the documents that they require, and where public servants are free to speak without threats and intimidation. And I would hope that members would support this motion to say that if we are going to get to the bottom of this, we need public servants to be free to speak without threats, without reprisals, without punishment for coming to committees and answering the direct questions of parliamentarians. Thank you, Chair.
So my question here, Chair, I would ask is, if we wanted to discuss this motion that is being presented by Mr. Genuis, then why are we wasting Mr. Hayes' time in being here? We could have just called a meeting for this. Better yet, we could have called a meeting at the regular time of our meetings as they come, as they arise, which is literally 3-4 days from
point
now.
Of order, Chair.
So I am speaking
just
to the motion, Chair.
Mr. McCauley, what's your point of order?
Well, I think we are discussing Mr. Genuis's motion, not Mr. Hayes' attendance at this meeting.
Again, I'm going to. I'll let Ms. Khalid continue, and then we'll hear from other members.
Thanks, Chair. And I just want to highlight some of the points that Mr. Johns had made as well with respect to Mr. Genuis's motion. One, that it seems to be a little bit disingenuous to present it in various committees, knowing that, just being a visiting member of a committee and
I'm just going to stop
motion.
you. So every time you say something's disingenuous, you are imputing the chair. That is fine. You're not crossing the line. My job is to oversee the government. This is an opposition-run committee. I will call a meeting when I think it is worthwhile. You don't like it, you can take actions. But to suggest that I'm being disingenuous by calling a meeting is out of bounds. Mr. Genuis, like all members, are entitled to bring forward any motion they like the day of the meeting that is relevant. He has done so. If you're implying we're in cahoots, you are wrong. I called this meeting on the information that I was received from Mr. McCauley on thousands of pages of documents. Referring back, you were right. The Auditor General said the exact same thing about that October 12th meeting. And guess what? Not only did this committee find out something that we did not previously know, that the OAG had been withheld information to the OAG by the department about a police investigation. That was relevant. Number two, the OAG actually delayed the release of their report so they could go back and review documents. So this committee is doing its job by overseeing the government. It will continue to do so. So if you're going to keep calling my actions disingenuous for doing my job, I'm going to find you out of line.
The current motion being discussed is premature. I think that we need the expert opinion of the AG and then hear what she has to say, and then continue with our work. We will be there to continue this work. I will be there in order to move this file forward in order to protect whistleblowers. However, at this stage, with the documents we have, with the information we have, and especially at a 2 weeks notice before the OAG's report on this very issue, I really think that this whole thing is premature.
Thank you, Chair. I'll be very brief. I didn't expect this to take the time that it has, and there's been a lot of time spent by people talking about things that aren't actually the motion, people talking about other ideas for protecting whistleblowers, and I think there's a time and place for that discussion. We're dealing with a specific instance here of two senior public servants who came before our committee, gave very frank testimony, and almost immediately after that, they faced severe professional consequences. I think this is a relatively clear and certainly a pressing matter. So at this point, I'd like to seek the agreement of the committee to proceed to a vote on this. So it appears there's unanimous consent.
Would members like to vote?
Yes.
Great.
Yes, okay. The committee report to the House its grave concern about apparent reprisals against witnesses following their testimony on the Arrive Can app.
Shall the motion of Mr. Genuis carry?
Yes.
Ms. Bradford?
No.
Do you want to record the vote?
No, yes, we want to record a vote. We want to record a vote.
Mr. Chen?
No.
Ms. Khalid?
No.
Ms. Shanahan? No. Ms. Yip?
No.
Mr. McCauley?
Yes.
Mr. Genuis?
Yes.
Mr. Brock?
Yes.
Madame Sinclair de Gagny?
No.
Mr. Johns?
No. Again.
You only get one vote. And it is defeated.
I will move to adjourn this meeting.
Very good. Dilatory motion. I will ask the clerk for a recorded vote on that.
Shall the motion to adjourn debate carry? Ms. Bradford?
Yes.
Not debate, the meeting. Sorry. Ms. Bradford?
Yes.
Mr. Chen? Yes. Ms. Khalid?
Yes.
Ms. Shanahan?
Yes.
Ms. Yip?
Yes.
Mr. McCauley?
No.
Mr. Genuis?
No.
Mr. Brock?
No. Conservatives believe in accountability.
Thank you. I agree. I agree.
Madame Sinclair de Gagny?
Oui.
Mr. Johns?
Yes, and be glad.
And same to you, Mr. Johns. This meeting is adjourned.